Hi everyone, welcome back to Fun in the Kitchen. My name is Rebecca and today we're going to make some fun treats and snacks that go along with this week's theme of superheroes and community helpers. So today we'll be making first some Thor hammer snacks out of cheese and pretzel sticks, and then we'll also make a Firetruck out of graham crackers, M&Ms, frosting, and pretzels, and little Oreos for the wheels. So let's get started by showing all the ingredients that I have prepared. So first, I have a bunch of pretzel sticks in a bowl. You can use any kind of pretzel sticks. I also have some cheese that I cut up. It's in my refrigerator. Sorry about that. Had to get the cheese, making sure it was nice and cold and safe to eat. So this is just a sharp cheddar cheese block that I cut up into little rectangles. I would recommend asking for some help when cutting your blocks of cheese. I had to use a pretty sharp knife. So if you feel unsafe when handling a knife, or if you want some help, then just ask an adult and you can tell them to cut them in little rectangles about maybe 1 inch wide. I also have some graham crackers, just regular graham crackers. I already opened up one package when I was making the test subject. I have some mini Oreos, but any kind of little cookie will work, or you can even use M&Ms or just whatever you have on hand. And speaking of M&Ms, I actually have a little bag here that we're going to use on our Firetruck. And lastly, I have some vanilla frosting and some red food coloring. This is what we're going to use for the Firetruck to make sure that it's all red. You might want to ask for some help for this step too, just because it involves this little product here and mixing it until it's the right color, whichever color red you like. So before we start, always want to make sure that we wash our hands. I washed my hands right before starting this video, so my hands are sparkling clean, but I always recommend that you wash your hands before handling food. And we'll go ahead and get started with our Thor hammer snacks. So Thor, if you don't know, is one of the Marvel superheroes, and he has a hammer that is part of his superpowers, and his hammer sort of looks like a rectangle on the top with a little handle, and so today we're going to recreate it out of cheese and pretzel sticks. So I have here my plate of cheese, like I showed you earlier, and my pretzels. And in order to make these little guys here, I'm going to start by taking one of my pretzel sticks and breaking it in half. This doesn't have to be perfect, and this is actually a great step for kiddos to do and can help feel like they're part of this craft and activity. So I'm just going to break a few off. I have about maybe 15 cheese cubes here, so I just want to make sure I have enough pretzel sticks for each cube. This snack is really easy to make and very quick and doesn't involve a lot of cooking or prep time, so this is a great way to get kids involved in the kitchen. So I have about enough pretzel sticks, I believe, and I'm going to take the end that's not broken. So there's the not broken end and the broken end. So I'm going to take the end that's not broken, and I'm going to put it, gently stick it on the long side right in the middle. I tried to go from the underside and the cheese would break, so I found that if I stuck the pretzel on this rectangular side right here, then the cheese stayed intact like this. So I'm going to take my cube and my pretzel stick, and I'm going to gently wedge it into the cheese, just like that. I'm kind of doing a little twisting motion back and forth, and then it stays on. And this is a Thor hammer snack. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more of these. I have quite a lot of cheese here. So this is great for like a party or for if you have a lot of people over and they're hungry. This is a great snack to make that's super easy, and it looks really cute too. I already have a pretty full plate here, so I'm just going to add a few more. I'm choosing my nice and square cheese cubes. Some of my cubes ended up a little smaller, so I'm afraid that those cheese blocks might break. However, let's keep going. So far, none of them have broken. And I'll show you what it looks like on my plate when I feel like I have enough. Let's do a couple more. Sorry if you can hear those dogs barking. There's dogs in my neighborhood. Okay, so here I have a whole plate of Thor hammer cheese. You can see that they're all different shapes and sizes. That one fell off the pretzel stick. Some are a little more rectangle, some are a little bigger, and some are even a little smaller. There's really no exact science to this. It's just a good way to have fun and enjoy a little cheese and pretzel snack. So let's go ahead and move on to make our Firetruck. Now this is made out of graham crackers, frosting, pretzels, mini Oreos, and a little M&M as the little siren. So how we're going to do this is first we take one long graham cracker and set it up on our plate. Now this is my favorite part of the whole activity, is making the red frosting. So originally this is just regular vanilla frosting that I got at the grocery store, and this comes white. And so we are going to use this food coloring to make it red. And you can make it whatever color you like. Firetrucks are usually red, but if you have another favorite color or whatever color food coloring you have, go for it. I happen to have red food coloring, and I wanted to make something that was pretty identical to the real thing. So I'm taking a good amount of frosting because I want to make a few of these. So I have about 3 little spoonfuls of frosting in here. You'll see that I already made some frosting earlier while I was trying it out. So some of it in there is already a little pinkish red. Now, this is red food coloring. This is food safe and safe to eat, but again, I would just make sure that if you feel uncomfortable using this or you want to ask for help, that's totally okay. I don't have much experience with food coloring, so I definitely had to practice before I felt like I was ready to use it. So this little magic bottle of juice will use science to turn this white frosting into red frosting. I would recommend with this amount of frosting, like 2 or 3 drops at a time. You can always add more, and so we can just stir it around and see what color comes out with 2 or 3 drops, and if we need to add more, we can. So I'm going to start with 2 drops. Actually, I'll start with 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put it down and make sure not to spill it all over my counter, and I'm just going to mix it up. You can see it's already starting to turn a light pink color, but I think I'm going to definitely need some more. This is a little more pink than what we're looking for. I'm looking for a pretty deep Firetruck red, which is actually a color. Firetruck red is a real color. So let's try to go for that as much as we can. Right now, you'll see with 3 drops of coloring, it's pretty pink, so I'm gonna add 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is what it looks like before it gets stirred up. And then as you're stirring it, you can see that the color is changing. Try not to pour frosting out all over my counter while I show you. So, it's getting darker, but again, I think we're gonna have to add some more. This is sort of like a fun little science experiment while making a yummy treat. So, if you don't know, when you mix white and red, it makes pink. But if you mix enough of this really concentrated red color, it will turn red eventually. So let's keep going. Let's add 3 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ended up being 4, but that's okay. Let's mix it up and see what color it turns now. Oh, it's getting darker. Still not quite red. It's pretty pink still, but it's definitely a lot darker than it was when we started. Do you remember that light pink color? Well, now, after almost 10 drops of food coloring, it's a lot more dark. It's a lot darker. Let's add a few more to see if we can make it a little more red. So let's add a couple more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's give it one more stir. Oh, look at how red that is. Okay. So we've been stirring and stirring and stirring, and my arm is getting tired. So we'll keep going. You see it's a little darker of a pink color. I would call this red, but let's just add a few more drops for fun. Since we have the time and we have the food coloring, I'm gonna add a few more. Just keep stirring and stirring and stirring. My arm is starting to get tired, so if you need some help, it's okay to ask for help. Okay, this looks more red to me. Now, I'm just gonna give it one big stir to make sure that we got all of that food coloring and frosting all mixed up. And there we go, red frosting. So we started out with white frosting, and now after a few minutes of stirring and adding food coloring, we started out with white frosting, now we have red frosting. Kind of took a few minutes, but it is worth it for what we're going to make now. So we have our frosting situated. I'm just going to close this and put it off to the side. So remember that graham cracker? It's still there on our plate. So I have it here, and I'm going to use, and this is a butter knife, so it's not very sharp, and I'm just going to take some frosting on my knife and spread it onto my graham cracker. You can do as much or as little frosting as you like. I like to get a pretty good layer on here so that all of the things I'll be putting on top of it will stick. The frosting kind of acts like glue for all the things we're going to put on top of the graham cracker, like the pretzels and the M&M and the Oreos. So I'm going to take a little more on my knife and just slide it on my graham cracker. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect or pretty, just however you can do it, and you might get your fingers a little messy too, but pro tip, the frosting tastes really yummy, so if you get a little on your fingers, that's okay. Now, so we have our frosted graham cracker, and I'm going to set it down on my plate while I get out the other ingredients that I need. So, let us first make our little window. We're going to use a piece of a graham cracker. So I took a big one and I cut it in half along the serrated edge that was here, and then I'm going to cut it along, or just break it apart along this serrated edge, like that. Then I'm going to take one of the rectangles, put the other one away, and I'm going to turn it over and break it in half again. Now we've made a little square. Kind of looks like a window. So I'm going to take our big graham cracker again, just the body of a fire truck, and I think that the fire truck window is going to be on this side, and the ladder will be on this side, and the wheels will be on the bottom. Oops. Uh-oh, I dropped it on the ground. Well, that's probably not safe to eat anymore, so let's make another square piece. So I'll take my rectangle again, and I'll cut it in half. And there's another square. It's okay if you make a mess or drop something on the ground. I'm going to be sure to clean that up and throw it away, because I don't think it's safe to eat after it's been on the ground. You never know what's on the ground in terms of germs. So that's why I just got a new piece. Anyway, now I'm gonna take my little square and I'm gonna put it, let's see, put it right there. So I have it about midway down, a little over to the side for the little window where you would see the people sitting in the fire truck. Now, let us prep our pretzel ladder. So you'll need about 3 pretzel sticks to make this ladder. These ones are pretty big, but I'm gonna make a pretty long ladder. I tried it out with a shorter ladder, but I think that the longer one looks more like a real fire truck. So I'm gonna take 1 pretzel and I'm gonna put it going horizontally along the fire truck as if the ladder was attached to the side of it, like it usually is. And so I'm gonna place it pretty close to the top, just like that. And it's okay if a little bit hangs off the end. Sometimes real fire truck ladders are bigger than the truck, and so even when they're all folded up, they still hang off the end of the truck. Now I'm gonna take the second pretzel stick and I'm gonna place it just a little bit underneath this first pretzel, but on the same line, so that they make 2 parallel lines. Just like that. So now we have 2 parallel pretzel sticks. I'm just lining them up on our fire truck. Now, here's another fun part. We're gonna take our third pretzel stick and we're gonna cut it into, well, we're gonna break it with our hands in little tiny pieces to serve as little ladder rungs, like you see here. So you want to make sure that these pieces are small enough to fit in between the longer pretzels. So I'm literally just taking the little edge and breaking it off with my hand. I'm going to do this about maybe 5 or 6 times. So that was 1, and then we have 2. I love that little snap that the pretzel makes when it breaks. And 3, that one's a little bigger, that's okay. And 4, and we'll break this little piece into 2. Uh-oh, 5. This one's a little tiny, so I might actually take a little bit off of another one so that my little pretzel bits are all a similar length. There we go. So this is my 6th piece. I'll show you here in my hand. I have 6 pieces of that one pretzel stick that I broke with my hands. So let's take our fire truck. I just got my hand in frosting. That's okay. And we're gonna place our little, tiny little ladder pieces in between the long ones. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, look at that. And 6. It looks like a real ladder. Oh, that one's a little crooked. Let's fix it. There we go. We made a ladder out of pretzels. Okay, now my hands have a little bit of frosting over them, so I'm just gonna get a towel to wipe them off. Okay, make sure my hands don't have too much frosting on them. Now let's place our little wheels of mini Oreos. So I happen to have mini Oreos here. They're pretty small and brown, dark brown, so they kind of look like the wheels of a fire truck. You can use any little round cookie or food item that you have. You could use even another round, like a different color round object, like a Nilla wafer. They're a little bigger. Just use whatever you have and whatever is convenient and easy for you. to get. So I have 2 mini Oreos here, 1, 2, and I'm going to place them on the Firetruck about where wheels would go. So let's do one here in the back. Hopefully this stays on while I hold it vertically. See, the frosting acts like a glue. I'm pretty much holding it vertical and the Oreo is not slipping off. And I'm going to take the second one and I'm going to put it closer to the window. And there we go. Now we have our wheels. So we just have one more step before our Firetruck is complete, and that is to get a red M&M for our siren and a flashing light. So I have a red one here, and I'm going to put it just over the little window area because the sirens are usually on top of the fire trucks. And now there is our finished product, our graham cracker Firetruck, made with graham crackers, pretzels, M&Ms, and mini Oreos, and frosting. And you could also replace the frosting with cream cheese or something, or yogurt even if you wanted to use yogurt instead. But the recipe I'm using just called for frosting, so I happen to have some, but you can also make adjustments or supplement that part with, or any part with things that you have. So let's make one more. I'm making them for my roommates that I live with, and so I think they will enjoy this treat, and I'm excited to have one too. So we have our graham cracker, and I'm going to take our frosting again with my butter knife. And just like last time, I'm going to take a little bit and spread it on the graham cracker, just like that. Alright, we should maybe get a little more on here. I ended up dyeing a lot of frosting red, so gonna have a lot of extra frosting left over, so I'll either have to make a lot of fire trucks or use the frosting for something else. So here's our frosted graham cracker. Now, let's take another square graham cracker piece. I have my rectangle from earlier, and I'm just gonna pop it in half. Now I have a square, and that's gonna be our window, just like last time. So this time, I'm also gonna put it on, this is the right side of the graham cracker, and it's just gonna stick on there because the frosting acts like glue. Now let's make our pretzel ladder. So remember, we're going to take 3 pretzel sticks, and we're going to place 2 of them horizontally along the fire truck. So I have one of my pretzel sticks, and I'm going to place it just on the edge, just like that. And I'll take the second one and do the same thing, so that they make 2 parallel lines. Now, let's put this back down on our plate, and we'll take our 3rd pretzel stick, and we're going to break it into 6 tiny pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You may, depending on how big of chunks that you break your pretzel stick into, you may need to use a 4th pretzel stick to make sure that you have your 6 rungs of your ladder, but I ended up making it work with just 1. So let's place them on our ladder. 1, oh, it's moving it a little bit, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. We can just move up the top one a little bit. 2, 3, 4, 5, and last one is 6. There we go, our ladder's all complete. I'm just going to straighten these out a little bit. Doing it while facing the camera, it's a little difficult, so I'm just making sure that they are all straight now. Let us add 2 more little mini Oreos for our wheels. Here, I'm kind of squishing them together so that they're a little flat. You'll see it's a little open here, so I'm just doing a little squish, and now it's flat again. So we're going to take our almost completed Firetruck, and we're going to add our wheels. So I'm going to use the frosting like glue and stick it on there. There's one. My finger just kind of pushing it off, so I had to readjust. And we'll take the second one and put it right under the ladder, just like that. We're almost done. We have one more step. I'm going to try and find a red M&M in this bag. There's one. And we're going to place our red M&M as our siren. So, here's my M&M. Here's my Firetruck. Goes right on top, sticking to the frosting like it's glue. And that is our second Firetruck. So these are the 2 Firetrucks that I made with you just right now, and I also have a third one. So I have enough for everyone in my house to enjoy right now. I can't wait to try these. I hope you guys give this snack a try. Thank you to all of our first responders, firemen, police officers, emergency medical services who protect us every day and help us when we have problems. This little snack is just a little tribute to them and to all the work that they do for our communities. And don't forget, we also made our Thor treats, our little Thor hammers, in honor of this week's theme of superheroes. So I hope you guys followed along or were able to make these fun snacks with me. These snacks are really easy and fun and don't take that much time. They only took this long because I made multiples of them, so you can definitely just whip these out really quick. And here are our final products. Let us know if you guys make any of these treats by tagging us in a post or commenting down below, and I'll be sure to post pictures of the final products below. Hope you all have a great day. Bye, everyone.